it don't matter where you come from. If you're willing to put in that work and
Facts.
it's dedicated enough, these doors are gonna open.
Hey, what's good, my man? What's popping?
That's good. You good?
Yes, sir.
Good, good.
What's good, you two? Today we got my man Kelvin, the network Wiizkiid.
Hey, you know,
Be sure to check out his YouTube. I have a link that I'll place in this description. I'm gonna let him tell you all about his information in this interview, but we're definitely about to give you some great content. So, with no further ado, let me introduce Kelvin. What's poppin', family?
what's good? What's good? How we doing?
Man, chilling. I've been watching what you've been doing for a while now, and it's been very inspirational. And so, what I wanted to do is, connect with you. Hopefully, and this will inspire other people, that may be traveling down a similar path or looking to get into Cisco. So,
Mm,
if you can tell me a little about yourself and what you do and all that good stuff. What's up, man?
cool. So yeah, thank you. First of all, the inspirational thing, that's what my YouTube channel's for. I can see I've looked at what you're doing, and I think it's really good that we've got this kind of thing going on where we can hopefully inspire the next generation or the people that are coming through or looking to take on the same journey as what we're doing. But from my side, I think I started, before I actually got into networking. I started as I think I started working at 16 years old after college, finished college, and I think 1 year at college, I decided that college wasn't for me. I wasn't really. At the time, I didn't really like education, so I thought, right, okay, I need to go get a job. So, I was still living at home with my parents, and I didn't really have to rely on myself to pay the bills at 16 years old. So I thought, right, what can I do? Um, I'd always been good at computers, but never thought of kind of taking it up with any sort of educational degrees or diplomas, etc. So I decided to go off and join the army. So a little after being in the army, passing, in the UK, I don't know if it's the same in the US, but in the UK, you've got like a series of tests that you need to pass in order to get into the military. So after I passed those tests and got into the military, I actually joined the Royal Signals um, with the hopes of being a technical, if I can remember correctly, it was something along the technical engineer, so something to do with IT at the time. And I never finished the training because I felt like after I was in the military, doing the training, I felt like at the time, 16 years old, it really wasn't for me. And I decided to discharge and leave the military for 16. So, yeah,
Man,
back at home with my family, I decided then, right, okay, I need to get a job. I need some money coming in. What am I gonna do?
right.
Uh, I took a job at a supermarket which was near to my home, and I worked there for about 4.5 years. And within that time, it was customer related jobs. So don't get me wrong, the customer service skills, customer facing, dealing with customers and other businesses over the phone. That was all well and good. It helped me get those skills that I hadn't got before then. Um, but I got to a point where I felt like I couldn't achieve anymore. There was no room for promotion. And to be honest, working in a supermarket, it wasn't for me. I
Right.
did the job because, it came up as I left the military and it was there. So I took the job. And at this time, I'd met, my now wife, and we had a little girl, and it got to a point where I had to be bringing in the money. I had to be supporting my family. I had food to put on the table, bills to pay. So
Facts.
I started looking at, right. Okay, so the supermarket thing. It's not for me. It's I've got nowhere to different roles to navigate in. There were no room for promotion. What can I do?
Right.
there weren't really any jobs at the time out there that I wanted to do. So I decided, this was a bold move. I decided what I was going to do is I was going to go back to college. So I've got a family, I've got bills to pay, and I thought, right, okay, I'm going to go back to college. This was, probably one of the hardest decisions I made, but life changing at the same time because it helped me get to where I am today.
Right.
So I decided to take myself out of work, and this was going to be a struggle for I think 3 years, approximately 3 years, and I decided to go back and get some further qualifications. So again, even though I knew I was good at computers, I decided not to do anything with computers. I decided to do a diploma in media. So I kind of got into the whole acting thing, and the film and television. So I went and did a diploma. I passed those. It were 3 years. So I did that within 3 years. And, I had hopes to, maybe take on some sort of role within film and television.
Right.
Now, me being me, at the end of the third year of doing my media diploma, I decided, right, okay, I need another job now. Even though I'm getting this diploma, what am I going to do? So me being me, I decided to do something totally, let's just say that the wife didn't think, this was something that I'd do. So anyway, I decided to join the Royal Marines, which is the Navy. And, like I said, I've just done this diploma for 3 years, and, I'm then putting this diploma in the background and saying, yeah, thank you, and going off and joining the military again. And in the UK, the Royal Marines is known as, one of the hardest to, kind of apply for and get into. Right. And I think for me, that were a bit of a challenge. I decided to embark on that and do that. So again, I passed all the tests and, the fitness tests, everything that were required to get into the Royal Marines. And I got into the Royal Marines, and it was, I think, a few months into the training, and I was discharged medically.
Oh, man.
So it was due to, well, I put it down to asthma. It was due to asthma. So I got discharged. I mean, I think, maybe we're a blessing in disguise because of where I am here, so I'm not really complaining now. But at the time, it was a real heartbreaker to me because, I trained so hard. I think for about a year I trained to actually get in, and, all this training's just then, being thrown away sort of thing. So coming out of there, I really had at the time I had no options. I didn't really know where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do. I'd just done a diploma in media and done nothing with it. I decided to join, the military again for the second time, and, then got discharged medically. So I was kind of really at a place where I didn't really know what to do. So a few months after, in fact, not even a few months, a few weeks after being discharged from the military, me and my wife decided to set up our own business, which was a commercial and domestic cleaning company.
Okay.
It was something we talked about prior to me actually joining the military, and something that we thought that we could actually get off the ground and get up and running. Right. and success. But we never actually, I mean, me being stubborn at the time, I was just like, okay, I'm going to join the military, and, that's it. We're not doing no cleaning business. That's not for me. So, obviously coming out of there, then we're a different story, because it was like, okay, we need something to do now. So we decided, I used the last bit of my military funds and put it into setting up the business, and getting business cards and flyers, etc. And I think we run that for a good few years. I think three to 4 years, I think we run that for. And within the first year, we was quite successful, actually, in terms of, because we set up this business from scratch. We had no customers, we had nothing. We set it up from scratch, and within the first year, we actually got an award from our local council, which was, I think the one that I got was Young Business Person of the Year award. So for me, this was a real achievement, because, like I say, we built this business from the very ground up. There was nothing there was no name, there was no logo, there was no customers, there was nothing. Right. So for me, that were a real achievement, and it just, moving forward with that business, it proved that we could actually do it. So we run that for a few years, and I got to a point then where I was like, okay, I don't want to work for my own company in terms of, the cleaning company. I don't want to do that. I'd rather just manage the company and have somebody else do that. So at this point in my life, I didn't then decided, right, okay, I need to sit down and really think about what it is that I want to do with my life. I need some sort of career, whether the cleaning company carries on, I'm just going to be in the background managing it, but I need something for me to do, career. So I then decided that, okay, I'm gonna go. I've got my diploma, so I can go to university. I've never done anything with it, so what am I really good at? So I sat and I thought, right, okay, well, I'm good with computers. Everybody always comes to me for advice with computers, and if things are broke with or something to do with computers, Kelvin can fix it. Kelvin's that guy.
Right.
So I thought, all right, okay, why don't I kind of, put this hidden talent, if you like, into, education and, see if I can actually make a career out of it. So
Right.
I decided to have a look on the internet and, I seen local universities offering certain university courses. And, again, these were a big step I was taking because I had a family, I had a roof to keep over our heads, I had food to put on the table. So, essentially I was taking another 3 years out to go to university just to educate myself again. And, I spoke with a wife and, there was some positives, some negatives, but, in the end I decided, okay, I found this course, I'm going to apply for it
Right.
and I'm going to see if I can get onto it and do it. And initially I don't know if it's the same in the US, but in the UK you can do university courses part-time,
Yeah.
which take twice as long. So initially I actually signed up for this. Like the course that I did, by the way, was it was a bachelor's in computer networks and system support.
Okay.
And initially I signed up to do this course over 6 years part-time. And when I was looking, I was like, boy, that's a long time. But at the same time, I'm like, I need to be bringing in some money to, pay for things as well. So I'm going to need to, work part time, study part time. So that's kind of the perception I had at first. And then when I actually started the course, I realized I'm talking to all these new people that I'm meeting on the course, and I realized that nobody else was doing part time. It was like just me.
Right.
So I was like, oh boy, I don't know about this. I might just have to switch full time. I don't want to be sat here for 6 years by myself.
Right.
So I thought, all right, then I'm gonna. So I kind of weighed up my options, and I realized, okay, I probably could do 3 years and work as well, part time, because the course was laid out whereby you had maybe 2 or 3 days of lectures, then the rest were your own time. So it was perfect to get a part-time job at the time.
Right.
So yeah, so I started the university course and I decided to go full-time 3 years. And within that time, I worked also as a stonemason as well. This was just kind of a job that just come out of nowhere.
Right.
I really enjoyed it. And it was a job that was keeping me on my feet while I was studying as well.
Yes, sir.
And after, I think within my second year, I actually got laid off from that company because there were no more work. So it was kind of like, okay, what am I going to do now? I've got one more year university. I still need to, pay for things. How am I going to get by? So I took a job as pretty much an ambulance driver. So, in the UK, we've got these positions with our healthcare providers that we can drive the elderly around that are sick. So I took a part-time job doing that, just kind of helping the bills get paid and stuff. And I realized that this job were actually more demanding than I initially thought. And I were coming up to the end of my second year in university, and my grades from year one, they'd all been above 70%. So, I went in with the intention of, I'm going to finish this degree. I'm going to get the highest grade possible, which is a first class.
Right.
And, I'm going to then go out and, seek my perfect job. And within the second year, I noticed that with work commitments and trying to complete projects at university, I noticed that at the end of my second semester, some of my grades had slightly dropped. So not bad. I mean, we were talking 68%, let's say, so it was, but for me, that 2% from 70%, it was a lot, because my kind of perception was anything under 70% is not acceptable.
I agree.
So
Yeah.
I had to, in order to maintain that standard, I had to kind of make a decision on whether I leave the company that I was working for and just study at university for that last year, kind of just grit my teeth and, struggle on for that last year, or carry on working, the job that I'm doing and risk, my grades dropping even more. Because
Right.
I mean, in the final year, your projects and the intensity of the program gets even harder. So I had to kind of work out what we're actually going to do. Um, so I decided to leave that job and just focus on university for the last year. And yeah, I ended up graduating with a first class honors degree. I
Okay.
actually got 95% out of 100, so I got the highest grade on the course.
Oh man,
Um,
that's what's up.
but yeah, I was happy, and I actually got an award from a local company, which was exceptional achievement in computing. So, for me, this were a real achievement because I kind of back in school, I never really, like I said at the start, I never really liked education. I'd do anything not to be in school,
Right.
and then all these years on, maybe a little bit late, but I've still done it. All these years on, I managed to do some, even going to university. If you looked at me and spoke to me about university at 15 years old, I would have been like, nah, that's not me.
Right.
You're not me at university. you know, Nobody in my family had graduated before, so for me to be able to do that, probably being one of the worst people for education at the time when I was, a teenager,
Right.
this was real, a real achievement for me, let alone everybody else that were, looking up to me. So, I'm really happy. Um, and I really honestly felt that at the start I had, good, I had good possibilities leaving university with the grades that I had. And so, yeah, I left university and pretty much got a job straight away as a network security engineer,
Okay.
working for a company that was quite local to where I live, actually. I did that for a few months, I think about 4 months I did that for, and then decided that, well, I actually didn't decide. I was still looking for jobs, as you do. I don't know if you do it yourself, but I'm always looking for new opportunities,
Right.
uh, either within the company that I'm at or different companies.
Right.
And I was sat at home and I seen a job for a cybersecurity consultant, and this was with the intention of joining Cisco. And honestly, I looked at the job post and I just seen Cisco, and I was like, yeah, that's me. Where do I stand? What do I do? And yeah, I mean, I seen this job description. It was very detailed, and it was talking about how if you're covering letter one, passionate and detailed, and fully describing why you would fit this role. They wouldn't even get back to you. And this were a company that contract on behalf of Cisco. It
Right.
wasn't Cisco direct, but it was with an intention of joining Cisco after a training period, after 6 months, I think it was.
Right.
I thought, okay, this covering letter. I mean, to be honest, I actually printed off the job description and I left it on my desk for about a week. And I spoke with my wife and I said, look, there's this job here. It involves, being down 4 hours away. If I get the job, and this was a problem, because I had to then decide, okay, I can't commute 4 hours there and back every day. That's 8 hours. That's a full working day anyway.
Right.
So one, I don't know. I don't even know if I got the job, how I'm going to do it. But I left the job description on the side, and one Sunday, I remember one Sunday, we're just chilling, not doing much, and I'm on my computer, and I seen this job description still sat there, and I seen the closing deadline at the bottom, and he went nearing that deadline. I thought, okay, what am I going to do? So I said to our wife, I said, look, I just apply for it and see what happens. So she said, yeah, just go for it. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I wrote my covering letter, spent, about an hour writing this covering letter. And, normally you try to tailor your letters to kind of convince them, obviously, to give you a job.
Yeah.
But for me, this felt so easy because they were talking about passion and, determination and why you want to join Cisco. And, for me, this were all natural. It was like, yo, I can spin this out in 2 minutes, It's, I could tell you all this, it's not a problem, because I felt like, I was so determined and passionate, this isn't going to be a problem. So I did the covering letter, I sent the email, and I thought, okay, I'll wait for it. If I get a reply, I get a reply. If not, then, I've still got a job. It's not a problem. And so I think a couple of days in, I actually got a phone call saying, can you do an interview today over Skype? So I like, whoa, like, okay, I'm at work at the minute. Like I was actually at work. So I said yes to the interview. And I actually said to my manager where I'm working at the time, I said, okay, I'm going to take a break now. And on that break, I ran to my car. I got my phone out. I got Skype up, and I was like sat there in my car like for the interview. And yeah, it was just so kind of. I mean, I wasn't prepared. Obviously, I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready for it. But I knew that anything that they were going to ask me about Cisco or the technologies, I knew that I had a really good shot of actually being able to answer this. So I knew it wasn't going to be a problem. The only thing that I was thinking was, did they mind that I'm actually sat in my car on my phone like this?
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. So I did that interview, and that went well. Then I had a few more phone calls after that, and a few more interviews. Then I had a phone call off a project manager from Cisco. These were like the closing stages now. So I'd had the phone call with the people that contract on behalf of Cisco, and now I'm kind of speaking to the Cisco guys themselves. So I spoke with the project manager. He asked me a few questions, and then I had another call with a actual network consulting engineer who I'm actually in his team now at Cisco, and he was asking me a few questions. And at the time, I still had my YouTube channel, and I told him about, I don't know how the conversation come up, but I told him about my YouTube channel, and kind of right there and then on the phone is like, oh, what's your YouTube channel? Give me the address. I thought, well, I'm giving somebody from Cisco my YouTube channel address. What's he gonna think? And on the phone, I think he actually had a quick look, and he were very impressed. And I think within the same day, I actually got a response telling me that I got the job. The guy from Cisco, his words was hiring now. So for me, that was like, whoa, I got these guys from Cisco saying, bring this guy in now. So I thought, right, I've done my job. I've shown that I'm determined, that I'm passionate, and hopefully I know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And I got the job. So 6 months, what it meant traveling or being down at the Cisco office in Reading, in the UK, which is about 4 hours from where I live now.
Okay.
This put a strain on my relationship a bit, because I somehow had to manage either staying in Reading or commuting there and back to where I live to obviously be with my family, every weekend, or so this meant every 5 days a week, my kids and my wife, they weren't seeing me because we're in Reading. So yeah, it did put a bit of a strain on it, but get closing up to the 6-month period where we're all getting ready to actually join Cisco as permanent members of staff. Right. There was some kind of complications with the contracting company and Cisco themselves, and they decided to let everybody go that was contracting. So this was just before Christmas last year. Yeah, this was just before Christmas last year. So around this time last year, yeah, I'd been let go, and this time last year, I didn't have a job, and Christmas were coming up, and everything was just kind of all over the place, and I kind of had a little advantage, if you like, because I managed to speak with a few people internal to Cisco about ways of which I could stay within Cisco, because I really wanted to work for Cisco. I worked hard during the 6 months, and this was, for me, it was like, whoa, this is my career now. Cisco, I'm here. This is it. I'm working for the best company in the world, let's say, for IT and networking. Cisco is the one,
Right.
And it was like, how can I get in? I'm kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and next week I'm probably going to be both feet out, and I'm going to have to start the process again if I want to join Cisco. And I'm like, whoa. So I managed to speak with some guys internal, and they put me forward for a kind of like training It's like a graduate training program.
Okay.
It's the official graduate training program, and this takes place. I think they do one in America. I'm not sure if it's RTP, and they do one for Europe. So obviously, I were part of the Europe one, and they put me forward for this, and I had to do a couple of interviews again, which weren't really a problem for me.
Right.
And after the interviews, I said, "Yeah, okay, you've got the job. This involves spending 6 months now. Like I was spending 6 months in Krakow, which is in Poland, and I was like, whoa." How am I going to do this? Spending 4 hours, being 4 hours away in the UK in the same country is a problem. I'm going to do, 6 months in a different country. What's going on here? So, yeah, I spoke with my wife, and obviously this were a problem, for her, and being away from the kids, and they were a problem for me because obviously I was going to be away from my family for 6 months unless they moved to Krakow with me for 6 months, which didn't really make sense. I mean, we did consider it, but it didn't make sense.
Which is in Poland, by the way, right?
Yeah, which is in Poland. Yeah,
right,
so
right.
we're talking. For me, it's about 2.5, 3 hours flight.
Okay.
So it's not somewhere you can just kind of jump in a car and visit.
Right.
When your partner, it's not like that. So this it were catch-22 because I had my family that weren't really wanting me to go. Then I had me, like, well, this is my opportunity. This is me. I'm starting with Cisco, and I'm starting permanent this time. Not no contracting. I'm there, and I thought, what am I going to do? Am I going to turn this job down? Am I going to take the job? And obviously I ended up taking the job, and I mean, we come to some sort of agreement, with the family and stuff, and don't get me wrong, it was a strain, but I went out there for 6 months with training for Cisco, and the job role that I took on was to join the UK and Ireland security team at the time we were a network security consultant engineer. Now my job title's changed to a security solutions consultant engineer.
Okay.
So we did pretty much training all around the Cisco security product portfolio. So you're talking ICE, AMP for endpoints, AMP in general, Stealth Watch, ASA, you name it, all the security portfolio that we have at Cisco. We did the
firepower.
Yeah, firepower. We did firepower training, which were really good. I mean, all the training that we did was really good, and at the same time, it was really intense. And at the end of the 6 months, I mean, you're evaluated all the way through, and these 6 months, the instructors thought of you, but the staff thought of you, and if they're going to progress with you and give you this full-time position sort of thing, and at the end, I ended up getting the position, and here I am today. I work for Cisco as a security solution consultant engineer, a few more certifications, and loving life. And now I'm back in the UK with my family.
Hold on, bro. You said a few more certifications, man. You can't just say a few more certifications. You got to let the people know those certifications because you've accomplished a lot, bro.
I'm going to let that one slide, but okay. So when I initially started Cisco, and when I initially got to Poland, I had my CCNT, which is a Cisco Certified Entry Network Technician.
Right. ICND1. ICND1.
Yeah. One, yep. So that's like the two parts of your CCNA, routing and switching.
Right.
And I preferred to do it in two parts rather than just do the full CCNA routing and switching, because I could kind of focus on more specific areas instead of having to know the full CCNA routing and switching, and turn up at an exam and not know which bank of questions I'm going to get from ICND 1 or ICND 2. So I did it that way. So yeah, I passed the CCED before I got to Cisco, and I also had my CCNA routing and switching as well before I got to Cisco.
Okay.
I did attempt to take a Brocade certification prior to those certifications, and that was just because it was a free certification. It was for network functions virtualization, which is SDN stuff. and I failed that by 8%. But that was my first ever certification I'd taken, and I kind of did it to see what the test environment was like, the pressure that you're under. Because I mean, I don't know about you, but sometimes when I'm going into these exams and I really want to pass it, the pressure is so intense. Sometimes I've seen that, I can't even read the question right. I'm reading questions 3 times over before I'm like, oh yeah, I know what that is.
Yeah, I do push-ups, bro, because that adrenaline, like you be so nervous, and I have to do some push-ups just to release some of that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm talking taking deep breaths when you get in there. I'm talking to my computer screen saying, Kelvin, you got this, you got this. But yeah, so I mean, back to the certifications. Yeah, I had just those 2 before I joined Cisco, and on the graduate ANC course, which is what I was on, which is the Associate Network Consultant Engineer course. They've got basically, when you join that course, you've got in fact, I've just put a video about it on my YouTube channel actually, which will explain more. But you've got prerequisites that you actually need to pass in order to continue and be successful into your role. And the prerequisites for me was the CCNA routing and switching, which I already had, so I didn't have to worry about. And then the CCNA security, which I luckily for me, I started studying before I actually got to Poland. So a few weeks after getting to Poland, I spoke to my manager and I said, look, I want to take the exam. And she said, are you sure you want to take the exam? So I said, yeah, give it to me. I'm going to do it. A few weeks in, I took the CCNA security and I passed the exam. And honestly, that was one of the hardest exams that I've taken at the point. That was, yeah. I mean, the pass mark for the CCNA security is quite high. And I mean, for me, I studied the material inside out, labs, everything. And, that exam, it was, it really made me think about the questions that were being asked, so yeah, for me, that was quite a challenging exam. So yeah, then I passed the CCNA security, and our manager said, okay, the CCNP routing and switching is not a prerequisite, but you can do the CCNP routing and switching if you feel up to it. So I kind of evaluated them for, okay, so I've got this intense security training, and I've got potentially the CCNP routing and switching that I can take.
Right.
And for me, because I'd already cleared the CCNA security before I was supposed to, and the CCNA routing and switching before I even got there, this bought me more time on the actual course. So I thought, okay, while everybody else is studying these certifications, I'm going to jump now to the CCNP routing and switching.
Right.
Even though I'm joining the security team in the end, I did my CCNA routing and switching a good few months ago. It'd be good to kind of revive this knowledge and aim for an IS professional certification. So I thought, okay, I'm going to take the exams, and I'm going to study the content, take the exams. And yeah, I think over the course of actually doing the course, I managed to do the CCNP routing switching and pass that. And the last certification that I took before leaving Poland was the CCDA, which is the Cisco Certified Design Associate. And I did that because I wanted a little bit of design knowledge behind me.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty much the couple of certifications.
Yo, there's so much you've done in your life. Your life story is inspirational just to see how you had a struggle, from the age of 16, joining the military. I salute you for your service. I'm a veteran too. And so I definitely know that journey. Now, at the age of 16, I don't. I went at 18. So your grind is real. But just see how one door will close and another door open for you. Man, to me, that's inspiring. Like, I hope others that are listening or watching this, are inspired, because to see how, you didn't have a job, this time last year, and now you're a security solutions engineer for Cisco. So that's what's up.
That's what I mean. It's possible. I mean, part of the reason I do what I do in terms of doing this and these link ups and my YouTube videos and my blog. The reason I do that is because we spoke briefly about this in our previous conversations, but is to inspire and to let people know that you know it don't matter where you come from. If you're willing to put in that work and
Facts.
if you're dedicated enough, these doors are going to open for you. You can't keep these doors shut. You're going to be running through these doors and kicking them down. And saying, look, I deserve this position. This is why I deserve this position. Give me this position.
Right.
And these opportunities are going to start coming to you. I get on LinkedIn and email. It's amazing because before I actually got my degree and everything, I was struggling looking for employment and keeping myself on my feet, and notes seem to be coming. Whereas now, every week or every day, I'm getting emails about different jobs within the IT industry, and it just blows my mind to think like, wow, people are now coming to me and asking, do you want to apply for this position?
Right.
What do you think about this position? Whereas a few years ago, I was struggling. So I just want to let people know that it's possible. Don't give up, just keep going, and stay focused, and you get it.
Man, look, what you saying that is something I was thinking about when you was speaking earlier. It's how you found yourself.
Mm,
It's like you were trying all these different avenues,
mm.
and along, like I was saying, the door would close, and then finally you found what you were set here to do at this
Yeah,
point in time in your life. And it
yeah,
sounds like, and it looks like, and from what I've seen, you're very passionate about it. So that is what's up, bro. That is
yeah.
definitely what's up.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, for going back, all those that are watching or listening, look, you might be 60s, 70s, early 20s, or even 30, 40, and still not know what you want to do. But you know if you've listened to my story and what I've been through, all the different careers or all the different jobs that I've tried, and they've not worked out for whatever reason, and now I'm here today doing what I finally want to do. Look, like you say, one door's gonna close and another's gonna open. There's a reason for everything that's gonna happen. So you might think of it like me leaving them or getting discharged from the Marines at the time. For me, you know, it was a real heartbreaker, like I said before. But like I said, that door closed, and like I said, maybe it worked out for the best because here I am doing what I enjoy today.
Yeah, and salute to your wife too, man, for sticking with
Yeah,
you. Y'all keeping the family together while set out to achieve your goals and your dreams. So that is
yeah,
definitely inspiring too to see how your family stayed together through that. So that's
yeah,
what's up.
definitely. Yeah, I mean, in terms of the family, it's for those that have got families out there, I mean, don't get it twisted. It's not been an easy journey.
Right.
There has been, everybody argues. There's been arguments. There's been, well, why don't you just do this and not do that? Why do you have to do this? And you know, sometimes that people that are not going through that journey with you in terms of they haven't got that vision. You're trying to work for Cisco. In my case, I'm working. I want to work for Cisco, and I'm visualizing what it's like working for Cisco, and they're not going to see that visualization. They're only listening to what you want.
Right.
So in the end, it comes down to what you can see and what you believe in, and at the same time, you need, if you've got that family, you do need that support from your partner to help you get through, and from your kids, because sometimes this certification journey and trying to chase that dream, that dream career, requires work, and that work means being away from your family. Sometimes that work means sat up until early hours in the morning studying certifications, reading things twice over, and looking at them and saying, I still don't understand this, but not giving up, just coming,
Right.
saying, I'm going to go back to sleep, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to do it again. And that's what it requires. So as long as you've got that support from your family and yourself, mentally and physically, I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, definitely, man. Because what you are doing, what you've accomplished, and what you're going to accomplish, not only is it fulfilling and keeps you going, but it
Mm,
also plants a seed in your children to
mm,
see you out there accomplishing your goals and putting in the work. So for
mm,
me, that's one of the reasons I do what I do, is because it's not just about what you know, providing for my family, but it's also teaching my kids this is how you make it in life. So I
Yeah.
definitely commend you for that, man. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a really good point because you got kids, I've got kids, and for anybody else that have got kids out there trying to set a good example, you know, like I said in this, a few moments ago, you know, none of my family have been to university and got a degree, graduated.
Right,
For me, I'm the first one to do that, and looking back, probably the last one everybody would have thought, would be doing that,
right,
and I did that, and I want my kids to be able to grow up with that respect and that mentality of that. If you want something, you can go get that, but it's going to require hard work. You can't just get things given to you and expect things to be given to you. You need to go out there. You need to make it work. You need to be able to, put in the work in order to get that. So, don't ever think because, you didn't finish school with the best grades and, maybe you didn't like school, or don't ever think that, right, your dreams are shattered now, because that's not the case. I didn't finish school with the best grades and, but I finished university with the highest grades you can get. So it goes to show, when you're willing to work, what you can achieve. When you're not willing to work, you're not going to get the best outcome. So I want to show my kids that look, it don't mean you can misbehave and not really pay attention at school, because that's not going to happen. I'm not going to allow that. But you know just know that there's always chances to keep improving yourself. There's always going to be another shot where you can, if you don't do so well at school, don't let that dishearten you. You can go to college and maybe choose a different career path, something that you'd not thought of before but really enjoy. If you don't do it at college, maybe you go back to college again and do something else, and then go to university. And just know that all it takes is hard work.
uh, it requires hard work. You know what I
Oh,
mean? It requires that you put in that work. So I
that's a
definitely
prerequisite.
agree.
Oh, you ain't got hard work, you ain't got no.
Yo, when you were in your Cisco training, so you got your CCNP and you actually said that your CCNA security was the hardest test you ever took. Now, a lot of people ask the question or feel like once they get their CCNA, they want their CCNP. But for me, that's what I did. Now, for you, you did the CCNA security first. Here's what I noticed since I've been reading the Cisco's CCNA security information is that a lot of the security when it comes to hardening devices, securing networks, is straight from the CCNP. Did you notice that?
Yeah. I seen when I was doing the CCMP. Well, in fact, when I was doing the CCMP switch and the CCMP route, I did actually notice that a lot of like VLAN security, authenticating dynamic routing, OSPF, etc. There was a lot of security, so private VLANs were in there in switch.
Right.
I noticed a lot of security in the CCMP routing and switching, and for me at the time it was good because I just finished my CCNA security,
Right.
which includes all obviously the security mechanisms, etc. And then moving on to CCMP route and switch to up my knowledge in the routing and switching area, but also I'm going through this track and I'm still maintaining that security knowledge because
Exactly.
they're still feeding me that information in there, So yeah, I realized that even though I'm doing the routing and switching, there's still a lot of security involved throughout, the routing and switching exam itself.
Would you recommend someone going straight from the CCNA route switch to CCNP route switch, or would you recommend someone taking another route from going to, like, let's say wireless or security? I mean, for
Yeah,
me, like I said, the CCNA security has so much information that the route switch does not cover, like firewalls. Even
yeah.
if you get your CCNP, you still don't cover firewalls. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? But I just want to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, so I mean, I think ultimately it depends on what you're trying to achieve. So for me, um, the reason why I did the CCMP routing and switching was because I had a little bit of time to spare. Where another certification, I thought I'm going to challenge myself and go for it. And for free, it was. I'd done, like I said before, I'd done the CCNA routing and switching, and I wanted to kind of refresh my knowledge in this area, and keep up to date with and learn new things, because the CCNP routing and switch covers a few new things that are not covered in routing and switching, or at least I did it anyway.
Right.
So yeah, those are the reasons that I did that. I mean, because I knew I was joining the security team, and my area of focus was security, and prior to joining Cisco, I worked as a network security engineer. So everything I was trying to do was security.
Right.
But at the same time, you got to remember that everything is built off the foundations of routing and switching.
Right.
If you have routing and switching knowledge, then you're going to struggle in the other areas, because even though you're doing security, so take for instance the CCNA security, yes, it don't cover firewalls, but you're talking private VLANs, that involves switching. If you haven't got switch knowledge, you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle to understand the concepts, etc. Right. You've got dynamic routing authentication, like I said. If you haven't got routing knowledge, you're going to struggle in that area, because you're going to be like, okay, how do you even configure OSPF, or how do you even configure it, let alone for authentication? So I think it really depends on the path you're trying to take. I think for me, I'd definitely say if you're a network engineer, mainly dealing with routing and switching, definitely, the CCNA routing and switching is, the must-have. You need to have the CCNA routing and switching. Right. I can't really recommend any other certifications outside Cisco. I mean, I work for Cisco, so definitely the CCNA routing and switching you need to have. The CCNP routing and switching, it really does, go that one level extra in terms of, acquiring the knowledge that you need to be that, really comfortable with the routing and switching. So, if you're really looking for that, I'd say, maybe the next step, maybe in setting yourself apart from the others, go for that CCNP routing and switching. But honestly, the reason why, I mean, the prerequisite that I was required to take the CCNA security, I had to do that anyway. It was part of my role. But at the time, I was thinking CCNA security, CCNP security, and then CCIE security. But now I've decided to skip CCNP security and just do CCIE security. So,
hey man, it's too many tests in the CCNP security, bro.
So yeah, I mean, honestly, you need to sit down and you need to try and visualize where you want to go. Maybe you're working for, and you're a network engineer, and maybe next year you're looking for that promotion, right? Okay, you need to look at, those that are in that role already. If there is anybody, what have they got that I don't have in order to get that promotion? Maybe they've got the CCNP route and switch, or, some other certifications out there. Okay, I'm going to set myself a target to go and get that. But don't only do that because, you want that promotion. Do that because, you want to learn that knowledge and improve your skills at the same time. Because one thing that I've learned in my journey so far is that since I started university, I signed up to forever learning. Like, I'm not going to stop learning now. And I think that's just the way that, what the industry that we're in, that's just the way it is, because technology is always changing, which means new certifications, which means having to, in order to be relevant in the industry, you need to keep yourself on your toes. You need to keep yourself up there, updated with that information, because as soon as you fall behind and you say, I've got CCNA routing and switching from 2014, I'm all good, I'm not going to do anything else now. I want that 60, 70, 80 grand position there. It's not going to happen, Right. So, and for those that are listening or watching, don't just think certifications are the ones that are going to get you promoted, or they're going to make you a better engineer, because that's honestly not true. I've met engineers that are really good that don't have any certifications, but they're probably at a CCIE level. I've met engineers that have got CCNP routing and switching, and every other professional certification, but because they've not used it, they forgot everything that they've learned. So they only know the general concepts again, because in the end, it doesn't matter how many certifications you take or what certifications you take, if you're not using the technologies and everything that's covered within those certifications, if you're not using them in your day-to-day life, you're gonna forget it. I mean, that's the same for me. I don't use, I forgot things that I might have covered in CCNA Security or even CCNP because I'm not using it every day. Especially the CCNP root and switch area. Yeah, I mean, you don't forget it totally, but you know, the sometimes you forget things because you're not using them. I mean, I work as a security solutions consulting engineer, so my day to day for the last few months has been sat on firewalls, firepower, with ASA module, configuring ASA. So all the routing and switching concepts are being left to the guys that do routing and switching. So I've not had to think about that.
Right.
So yeah, so don't just think, yeah, I get certifications, I'm all good. This means I know everything. No, it don't.
No, it don't.
It's a continued journey. It's a journey of always learning, and the moment you stop, is the moment you start losing, what you don't use. So always keep up that training. The way I see it, it's like going to the gym.
Facts.
You go to the gym, you keep going to the gym, you're gonna improve. You stop going to the gym, you're not gonna improve. So
Right.
look at that. That's how networking is.
Yeah. You don't use it, you lose it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it. Simple. Simple. So I'm not saying read a book every day, or keep reading the same book even when you pass a certification. You don't have to do that, but make sure that you're always trying to
Mm-hmm.
do some sort of labs, or you lab every day, hashtag lab
every day.
make sure you're always trying to improve yourself, because even when you pass the certification, I can guarantee you now there are things that you're still not too sure of, because just because you've read this whole book, it don't mean in the exam you're going to get every single question related to everything that you've read. There might be an area within that certification exam that you want too good at, but these questions aren't come up in the exam. So you pass the exam and you're all good, but don't think that passing the exam, yeah, I can sell my book or give the book away because I'm good now, I've got the certification.
Right.
Go back, look at those areas that you still didn't really know about, or even questions that you've guessed because you weren't too sure about. Go back, look that up, and that's kind of part of that improving yourself, improving your skill set.